Hello, all you live people. Okay, let's see. Let's get this all kind of set up on my system. Get over here. Oh, Arthur, like
Hello.
I'm so on top of this. Can you share with me the ability to share?
Done. And while we're talking about it, I'm just going to pull up the meeting settings and see if I can change
And by
that
the way,
at the
for those
master
who are
level.
joining us, we're starting this show at 8:30. You've come to the pre-show. It's an entertaining pre-show. We really want to entertain, but it's not the show. The show starts at 11:11, as it says in all of our marketing material. Sorry, what were you saying there? I was not listening to you at all, Arthur.
Oh, I was going to see if I could update that setting at the Zoom level.
Oh, okay. You're just going to do a little bit of that. Okay. So while you're doing that, I am going to, I'm going to actually share a few things before the show that kind of struck my fancy. So the first one was I read a thing, I think it was on Slashdot, so in the media, about Netflix is canceling old stale accounts that haven't been active, so like inactive accounts. And I was just like, that is so brilliant. Obviously, they're getting revenue from it, but it is such a good way of saying just a little bit of a brand message that, hey, we care. And this is not the time for us to be collecting just because you haven't been checking your credit card statements diligently. Let's just get that off the books, right? And I actually also really like it because from a business perspective, when you have that kind of stuff on your books, you actually oftentimes don't know really what your true value is, right? Because you're getting a certain amount of revenue that's not real added value revenue. It's just accidental. And so when you get it off the books, I think you actually become stronger as a business. So that's really cool. And it reminded me of something that I've only seen with one company ever, and it is ridiculously incredible. Slack. So Slack is a chat messaging app. It's a very popular chat messaging app. And one thing that they do is you can add people to your team, obviously, and Slack has a per user license type agreement. So the more users you have on your team, like us, we have a whole bunch, your cost goes up. But what Slack does is it watches for activity. And as soon as it's determined that this person is no longer active anymore, then your costs go down, and they actually will credit you if you've paid for the month already. So I'll get $2, $3, $5 back. When that person becomes active again, then they become billed again. So I don't have to worry about adding people to my Slack channel. I can add all of our contractors, all the people that I want, and I don't have to sit there monitoring it to say, oh, right, we've been using this license for 3 months. I guess we might not be needing them anymore. Let me cancel that account. Oh, darn, we need that person again. Let me add it again. It's just so good. I want to give you the opposite of this. So this is just something to think about when you think about what is the embedded culture, the value of the values within your core system, and how do you express them? And for me, that to me probably came from a Slack core value. I don't know what the value term is, but it does sound like a brand expression that's being translated all the way through their company. And so to give you the opposite experience, LastPass, which we use, like it, you have to purchase the account for a person 1 year in advance. You have to pay for the entire year. Like we have I don't know, 8, 9, 10 people on it. We have like an extra separate one for the boardroom computer. And if that person's no longer part of your organization because you're not using that contractor anymore, you can disable them, but you don't get your money back. You just have an empty license seat for the rest of the freaking year. And it's not inexpensive. It's like a couple hundred, I think it's like $10 a person, $10 a license, somewhere around that range. So we're paying like $600-700 a year for this LastPass suite solution. And it's just like, damn, now I have to, so the other nice thing about it is, so every time you hire somebody, it's like, oh, great, I get to use my LastPass account. It's not sitting there idle anymore and just feeling like it's a waste of money. It's boneheaded as far as you can't, there's no refunds, there's no down. It's just like you've paid for it,
Right.
and there's no option to go monthly. It's the stupidest. I would actually go so far as say it's the stupidest thing in a frictionless marketplace. There is some friction. That's why we're still using them.
Yeah, I mean, I feel that I feel that's going to be reflective of companies that are going to be successful moving forward are companies that allow users to be more adaptable, more kind of pick and choose, do what I want when I want it. And I like what you were saying about Slack actually monitoring to say, you haven't been using this account, so we're not going to charge you and refund you. And I think people are really going to gravitate to systems like that. If nothing else, because people already feel like they already have a lot that they're thinking of and keeping track of. And if when they're signing up for new service, if they feel like, great, I don't need to actively monitor this because they're keeping track of it for me. Great. I don't have to worry about this.
So now keep in mind, we're still using LastPass, still love LastPass and all that type of stuff. This is all about what do you do with your business? Or actually, I would actually say, think about what in your business are you keeping that client because of friction? And where is that friction coming from? So if another vendor like LastPass came along and said, here's the price, it can be monthly, it scales up and down, and we can import all of your stuff like that. No friction. I'd be over there, no problem, I'm gone, right? This is what happened with Uber and with Airbnb and all that kind of stuff. Is there was lots of friction in the marketplace. You had to get a license, you had to do all of this stuff, you had to call somebody. There's a lot of friction in the marketplace. As soon as the marketplace, and it's clear now, like there's no question about this, the marketplace encourages reduction of friction. So for us, when I look at what we're doing, I'm like, where are we not really adding value? It's just more of a pain for somebody to leave. It's probably more in our hosting business than anything else. That's one reason why we chose WordPress. It's one reason why we do a lot of the things we do, because we actually want there to be less friction for a person to move on to somebody else, because then I actually know whether the client likes us or doesn't like us and all that type of stuff and what's going on in the marketplace, because you can see it fairly quickly. But when you have a company that is, their business model is based on friction, the music industry, right? That's what happened. Their entire business model is based on record album friction. They literally went to the point where if you had one or two good songs, you could fill up the rest of the album with crap, and you could sell entire albums for 10, 20, 15, 20 bucks. And that was friction. They had the marketplace. That's the only way you got the songs to play at home when you want it. And then boom, instantaneously wiped, like literally taken. And then Apple iTunes, that was the whole big, they have a lot of resistance to it, because it's like you can buy one track and it's digital and you get to download it. You no longer
do it anywhere.
Yeah, you no longer get to sell an entire album of crap and just have a few hit songs. The only reason why that was sustainable was because there's friction, and they didn't want to move and recognize that all that was keeping them alive was friction in the marketplace. Happens with all of us, big and small. How are we doing for time?
And I think you end up taking it for granted.
1. Ba-ba-da. Da-da-da-da. All right. Okay. Let's get going. I'm excited about this one.
Are you sharing audio?
Oh, I'm too excited. Hold on.
Too excited.
Too excited. Hold on.
Having so much excitement talking about friction and frictionless experiences.
That's right. Now, this is going to be sticky. You guys aren't going to be able to leave. There's going to be so much friction because it's going to be so attractive. What we're about to get into, like UTM codes, ridiculously good. Okay. All right. I'm trying to just talk and say something funny, but it's not really that. And back to the beginning. Dun-dun-dun-dun. Intro music, cue.
You've tuned in to COVID Marketing with Brent Kobayashi and Arthur Tutt. the show to support small business not just to survive, but to thrive.
That's right. We are live with COVID Marketing episode number 49. We are going to be going into the ins and outs of UTM Tracking Codes. Yawn. No, excitement. This is going to be so good. This is the show to support small biz, not just to survive, but to thrive. Week daily at 11 Eastern Standard Time. If you have questions on marketing, business, or whatever, you let us know in the comments wherever you are seeing this. I am Brent Kobayashi, president of Kobayashi Zeitguys, a marketing specialist. I'm a marketing specialist. Yeah, I'm a marketing specialist. I'm also the president of a company here in Toronto, Canada. And with me is Mr. Arthur Tutt, who is the marketing specialist.
Hello and good morning.
How you doing? So everybody who's watching this and you're enjoying it and you've been returning, remember, share the show. We want to grow this show so we can support more. Just get things going because we need it. Oops, sorry. Arthur, this is too much stuff is happening right now.
Too much excitement.
Too much excitement. You know why? UTM tracking codes. That's why.
It's really exciting.
That is too exciting. Okay, so today we're going to break down the basics of UTM tracking codes for tracking your digital marketing. We're going to answer, why do you want them? Why do you need them? Where do you put them? How do you check them? How do you create them? All that kind of stuff. So Arthur, so what's a UTM tracking code?
So I think what would be helpful here is just to start at like the highest level to make this understandable for people. Let's just say you're running different campaigns on different platforms. You're on Facebook, you're on Instagram, you're on TikTok, you've got an email newsletter, you've got a website, whatever it might be, you're running across different platforms. The UTM tracking parameter, it's like a little piece of kind of looks like code that goes onto the end of the URL, which helps you to keep track of what channels are actually working for you. That's kind of like the highest level overview, and we can really go down the nerd rabbit hole here.
Yeah, and just to be clear, the URL in case is the thing at the top of your web browser that says www.kobayashi.ca/ whatever it is. And what happens is you can actually, in your campaigns and the stuff that you're doing to promote your business, add a thing to the end of it, which then starts to pull all the things that you're doing together into a nice consolidated report that gives you actual good information.
Yes. And so we are actually going to get into the details of what it looks like and how to set it up, but we'll start kind of with a higher level overview first.
All right, get into it, please.
So one use is for tracking different platforms that you're using. But you could also use it. Maybe you have different parameters that you use for different clients, different teams working on different projects. If you have different promotions that you're running, if you have different content on different channels, like let's say you're on, let's just use Facebook as an example. You're running a Facebook ad campaign. One of my favorite things about Facebook is you can run an unlimited number of different ads, right? You could take an ad, you could duplicate it 30 times and use 30 different photos or 30 different videos, and you could see which ones are actually working the best, right? And so one thing you could do with the UTM tracking parameter is for every different ad or for every different photo that you're using to give it a different tracking parameter so that when somebody then signs up or registers, you can see which photo was actually working the best.
So now let's actually dig into a little bit more detail with that. So on Facebook itself, you can start to see some of that information. But what you're doing here is you're actually starting to pull it across, in some cases, this is not the only use case, across multiple platforms. So say, for instance, maybe you actually have a group of photos that you think of as happy photos and a group of photos that you think of as serious photos. And that's sort of the feel of it. And you actually want to add a UTM tracking code for happy and serious tone. And then now you could have a whole bunch of different Facebook ads and the tracking. And it's hard to pull all that information together to just say, did happy work? Did serious work? And so you can see that on, in your analytics from your website, which originated in Facebook, maybe it also went into email, maybe it went to a few different places, where all of this is coming together. So you can say, oh, like the happy is really doing well in this kind of situation or in this way. You can also now actually pull things across multiple platforms, because one UTM code that tracks happy can be like, well, in email it was happy, in YouTube it was happy, and all this is happy. Instead of having to try to dive into analytics from all over the place and actually not even know what's going on, you can just kind of start to get a sense of what's going on. So actually, well, and also, like, maybe you find out that happy works better in different places, right? Maybe YouTube's the serious crowd and Facebook is the happy crowd.
Yeah, I mean, you could find, like, if you're spreading across all the different platforms, you could find, if you're using this happy photo, that people on Facebook, and specifically in the news feed, because within Facebook, then there's all sorts of different placements as well where the ad can show up. But on Facebook, in the news feed, people that are aged 35 to 44 specifically, they really resonate with that happy photo. Yeah.
And the interesting thing is, like, it also tests your assumptions, right? So say, for instance, like, everybody is like, you have to be serious on LinkedIn. So, okay, so be serious and be fun and be happy on LinkedIn. And then you get to track what's going on there based on, in your analytics, not just in LinkedIn, where it might be a little bit more challenging to do these sorts of things, coalesced in one place. So you get the feeling of what's going on here. You can also, one of the things that I actually loved was, say you're working with a bit of a team, right? A creative team, a copy team, a social media team. And you actually want to say, well, what's happening with that team member's posts across time? So over this past 3 months, and you can put the team member into the UTM tracking code and say, so Brent. And so we can actually see, you can compare what the performance is of that person's social content in your analytics, which normally that's like impossible to track. Now it's like super easy to track.
Yeah, so effectively you can break it down across as many different dimensions or metrics as you can imagine, really.
Yeah. Like, so be inquisitive about the world around you and about your business. This is what this is about, is not getting into, oh God, do I have to look into these statistics and all these stuff that doesn't mean anything. Like, actually think from a business perspective, what would interest me to know?
Business intelligence.
Yeah. Like, all this analytics, everybody thinks the analytics is sitting there doing stuff for conversions. What am I converting? What am I converting? What am I converting? It's all online. You can actually pull this stuff to actually understand your business better, not just straight up the funnels and what's going on online. You can actually end up making business changes because of what you're learning through this stuff.
All right. So now that we've convinced everybody that UTM tracking parameters are the best thing ever and that you need to use them immediately, should we get into how to actually set one of these up?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, I'm going to share my screen here. Let's share this.
We're going to dig into it.
Let's dig into it.
Nice. Good morning, Arthur.
There we go. So if we go to Google, we'll keep this real simple. If you go to Google and you search URL Builder, Google made this very simple, easy to use tool. It's got a funny name up here, gadevtools.appspot.com. Forget about that. Just go to Google, search URL Builder. It's a free campaign URL builder. Basically, all you need to do is put in a couple key pieces of information. Some of it's mandatory and some of it's more optional if you want to get more into the weeds. Right.
And now, just before you get into this a little bit further, just want to remind everybody, we are going to go into super detail with this, with a blog post. So if you're frantically making notes, it's okay. We'll support you on this.
We'll have the information.
We'll have the information for you.
So first thing, most important, is what is the website? Where is this actually sending people to? Because the rest of the details get appended after the website, and it's more just additional information, but it doesn't actually affect where it sends people to, right? So in this case, we've got our website, kobayashi.ca. And the other thing that you can do with UTM parameters is you can set up test parameters, right? So here I've used campaign source, medium, and campaign name, and I've set them all to test so that if
let's change them a little bit.
We will,
okay.
But I was just going to say,
okay, sorry,
as an example, let's say I want to get onto a client's website and I want to test, is conversion tracking working for a new form that we've just put up, right? I can use these test parameters so that when I submit the form and I get the conversion, I know, oh, that was me doing the test and it wasn't somebody who found it through Google Organic, right? And so what I thought would be best here to give an outline of, source, medium, campaign name. I know for me it was all very confusing when I first got started. So I think of the campaign source is what is the platform, right? Where is this being shown? So the campaign source, that could be Facebook, could be Google,
email,
could be newsletter.
Yeah,
sure.
Good.
It's what is the platform where this is showing? The campaign medium, I tend to think of this as like, is it free or is it being paid, right? So is this a social post that you would put up on Facebook socially? So it could be, if I can spell here, campaign medium could be social, or maybe it's part of you're running a paid ad campaign, right? So in that case, we would use CPC for cost per click, which has kind of become a generic name for a paid ad campaign. Could also be organic if it was coming through, say, Google Organic, or if you're doing an email newsletter, then to use email. But let's just go with CPC for now.
Gotcha. So a little bit more specific than source. Like, so we're actually, what's the passage that the communication is going through?
Exactly.
In this case, yeah.
Gotcha. Exactly. Because if you think of Facebook, there's the free Facebook platform and there's the paid Facebook platform, right?
Right.
So
and it could be.
It just helps you to get a little bit more granular. Then the campaign name, you can think of this as what is the specific action that you're looking to get people to take here, right? So the example they give is the spring sale, right? So if you're running the spring sale promotion, but it could be if you were running a webinar, right? The campaign name could be that specific webinar. Or if you're running multiple webinars, right? You could have one campaign that's webinar 1, and you've got another campaign, it's webinar 2, right? So you can start breaking the campaign up.
Be descriptive here though, right?
Sure.
So in other words, it is webinar date, or it is webinar that is about yoga. It is yoga, prenatal yoga.
It's the happy
webinar 1. Yeah, exactly. Perfect. Yes.
And so these first 4, you can see with a little asterisk there, those 4 are mandatory. You need them. If you want to get in more specific, again, if you really want to nerd out and go down the rabbit hole here, there are some additional fields you can add on top of that. The campaign term, campaign content. The term is, so let's just say you're running a Google search campaign here. That could be the specific keyword that somebody was searching for to see that ad. It could also be if you're running a Facebook campaign, like you were saying earlier, Brent, this could be the specific interest group that you're targeting.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, love it.
The campaign content, then this gets into the specific of what is the ad that you're running. So if you have 3 different photos, you've got your happy, your sad, and your serious photo, right? This could be, campaign content. This could be happy. Or whatever that might be.
Can you do multiple terms in here?
So if you had a photo that was the happy photo, then you would just do happy here, right? Gotcha. So you would just have the one term. And so the idea is you would make separate UTM parameters for each one.
Okay, gotcha.
And so when I say that, I mean, okay, so we're going to set up a Google CPC campaign. It's for the happy webinar, and the content is the happy photo, right?
Good. Yeah.
That then gives us this URL right here that we can use. And so if I take that and I copy it, and we'll open up a new tab here.
So one of the things you've got to do when you're doing this is like have a spreadsheet where you're keeping track of all of these different UTM codes. Like that's,
Exactly.
you need to know what's going on and what you're managing.
Exactly. And so you can see I put that in. So that's still taking us to our kobayashi.ca website. But now up here at the top, you can see there's all this code looking stuff up here.
And
so
now if we have Google Analytics on this website, which we do, it's now going to be like, oh, now I understand what's going on with this person who's visiting.
Yep. And actually I can give I probably have too many tabs open. My computer's going to freak out here soon. But I can actually, if I go to, so here we are in Google Analytics. If I go to real time for kobayashi.ca, and now we go to traffic sources, we will see here. And actually, I'll redo this again so we can see it. But we can see here on the website, we now have one person who's arrived from Google CPC. Now, let's just change this up here.
Okay, yeah. And you don't have to save that. This is all free. All of this is free. This is just for you. Yeah, this is so good.
But let's just say, I don't know. Let's just get crazy here. So we're on
campaign source live stream.
Sure. So social.
This is all good. This is all good. I like it.
And yeah. So boom. So we take that, and I'm just going to close this. And if we dump that in there, and then I'm going to jump back over to analytics here, we're going to see, if we give this a second to refresh, we've now gone from Google CPC, and then we should, in a moment, when this loads. And I love doing things live because when they don't work, it's super embarrassing. Boom, there we go. We now have one person on the website who apparently came from the live stream on our socials.
Yes. Awesome. So it's as easy as that. Now, there's obviously, you have to get into your Google Analytics, all that type of stuff. And if you need support with that, we're always happy to help. But yeah, that's it. What else did we want to cover today? Because it is 11:29.
Well, okay. So the next thing people might be wondering is, okay, so you've got the UTM parameters, you've added them to the website here. How do I actually use that in an ad campaign?
No, to be fair, you're not adding them to the website. The website is actually independent of this. All you need is Google Analytics set up. What you're really doing is adding them to using it as a link in your email blast instead of using the normal link that you're going to do otherwise. Or actually, one of the interesting things is you could, if you want to do it in print materials, you can get a URL shortener like bit.ly, bit.ly, and it could be an easy URL like bit.ly/livestream.
Livestream, yeah.
Yep. And then when somebody goes to that, the URL shortener has shortened down this big long URL that nobody would type in if they saw it on a print postcard or a billboard or something else like that into something. And then you now have the ability to track that.
Yep. And one important thing I would say too, like in the email blast, is don't just copy the URL and put the URL naked into the email. Put it in as a hyperlink. Right. So if you have your email, if you have your email and you write in your email, read our blog here, the word here could be hyperlinked using the UTM parameters. So behind the scenes, you've still got the UTM parameters, but you're not showing this big long hyperlink in your email because that's going to confuse people. I
love this. We're getting so deep. This is so good. Okay, let's wrap up because I actually should be bouncing right now because at 11:30, but go for it. Wrap us up.
Last thing I'll say here. So let's say, you're running a Facebook ad campaign. And so your question is, okay, what do I do with these UTM parameters, right? How do I use them? So I've got an example here from the Facebook Business Manager. And so once you've got your ad, you've got a spot here for the website URL. And so simply all you would do is the website URL. You've still got your kobayashi.ca, but now you've also got the UTM parameters. Now I've done this wrong because we're doing it live. the UTM parameters here should be Facebook. Source would be Facebook. The medium would be CPC, and the campaign would be that specific campaign. But I'm going quick here.
Well, no, well, yeah. So I mean, we're mixing UTMs. Uh-oh, the streams are going.
Yeah. So just to summarize real quick, you build your URL with the UTM parameters, and then you just use that anywhere that you would have linked your website before. You just use that in place of where you were linking it.
Yeah. And to see the results, that's what you go to something like Google Analytics. And that's what you're showing us in that real-time view. But Google Analytics, it's not just real-time. It actually aggregates all of that information so you can see it weekly, monthly, that type of thing. I actually think as a business owner, it's, or as a business, it's good to be really having you or somebody check in on it on a regular basis. At the beginning, probably more so than later, because you're really starting to get a feel for this type of thing. So very quickly, we talked about why you should be doing this, because you want your business to be intelligent. So you want business intelligence. So you want to be gathering information that you feel is relevant to your business and that you'll use, whatever that happens to be, what kind of campaign you're using, who's doing it, where it's coming from, where you're advertising from, geography, like a whole bunch of different things you can pull together, like whatever you're actually interested in. Then you want to set it up, like it's, you know, and go to the blog post if you're that we're going to put together for this thing. But you can just Google, what was it again? Google UTM
URL builder.
URL builder. That's all you need.
URL builder.
Yes, URL. You are real life builder. And then after that, you are going to check them right in Google Analytics and see what shows up and play with that a little bit. Okay, that is it for today. And we are going to go into the outro.
Oh, we're not hearing you.
Oh, you're not? Oh, that's right. You were sharing.
I took back control.
The outro is very quiet. Everybody's like, he's just not doing anything. All right. Outro, take 2. There we go. Yeah. Sweet.
You've tuned in to COVID Marketing with Brent Kobayashi and Arthur Tutt, the show to support small business not just to survive, but to thrive.
Thank you so much for joining us. That wraps episode 49. Episode number 50 is gonna be a big one. We are checking back in with both Patricia and David from last Friday's Kill the Guru episode. Both of these entrepreneurs have been working hard to move their business forward, and we are happy to help them along the way. So they're gonna be coming back, and they're gonna be letting us know what worked, that the gurus told them, hey, do this. And then what also didn't work and what got in the way and what was just like BS, that doesn't work for me. And we're going to dig into it a little bit further and see if we can move them again along in the direction that they want to go. So loving you and seeing you soon. And
a couple of shout outs before we leave here. A shout out to Magic Brad in Minneapolis. Thanks for joining us. Big shout out to Patricia and David. Both we got 2 votes. Today's show was gold. And Kinga, thanks for joining in, who says excellent show today.
Love this. Thank you so much for joining us. And Arthur,
cut it.
And like, actually, let's cut it. I have to